so much for joining us this afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Cafe. Now, this afternoon, we'll discuss a number of issues pertaining to current affairs, and my guest is Mr. Dennis MUTUMBA. He is a good governance advocate. Mr. MUTUMBA, good to see you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Joe. How is Camnet TV? And good afternoon also viewers, wherever they're watching us from.
Okay, we are fine, Mr. MUTUMBA, despite of the two bereavements that we have as a nation. The clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Roy Ngulube, passed on while on duty, and yesterday the passing on of Madam Edith Nawakwi, the first female finance minister Zambia has ever had and leader of the FDD. Your word?
It's quite sad that we have lost a very courageous and prominent politician, the president of FDD.
Okay.
May her soul rest in peace until on that glorious morning when the Lord will come to take us home. I have some words to appreciate who she was. And it's our culture to remember the good thing that one does when he or she is no more. And my first words to the public and also to the Zambian people: the nation is mourning a gallant child, a representative of politics in the female space where they undertook the courage to stand in and represent the people. She is one of the prominent politicians, a female that represented fellow females in the political space. The first youngest serving female minister under the regime of Chiluba when they won election in 1991. And the first youngest female minister in MMD. Not only that, she was the first youngest minister in the SADC region. So the continent of Africa, in Zambia, we had a woman that represented fellow women. And these other fellow women that have taken a route to join politics must emulate her works. Of course, Joe, it's normal to have people that are fighting you in politics.
Okay.
She was also fought in politics, that's a reality. But it's not good to talk about bad things one has been doing when she's no more. We only remember the good thing. Even the Lord, when he's saving us, you and me, he will not look at the bad things we've been doing. He will look at the volume of goodness in us. And this is how we're going to be saved.
Okay.
We are not perfect, we are not angels. On the earth, we are subject to error. If there could be some people that she could have offended, it is time that they forgive her. And we must not politicize the death of Edith Nawakwi. No one has caused the death of Edith Nawakwi. It's the Lord himself. Thank God this government of the UPND evacuated the two. Unfortunately, we lost the other one, and this is the president of FDD. The first finance minister. On social media, people have been writing articles, the historical background of Edith Nawakwi. They've been writing good things, and I think we have read. Today we are saying, let us mourn this woman with much respect. There must be no politics about her death. Let us just be peaceful. Then the Lord knows why this woman has gone to rest. May her soul rest in peace. She's been a woman that will always remember. She served better because under the leadership of MMD, she was a very courageous, very focused, very disciplined. Not until in 2001, when she formed her own political party. Today, we have lost the president of FDD. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. MUTUMBA. Now, let's get into it, Mr. MUTUMBA. Yesterday, there was another event that took place at the court premises. We saw Umezi Independent Member of Parliament, Honorable Munia Zulu, being sentenced to 12 months imprisonment with hard labor for defamation of character, obviously. If you like, we can say there's another word they use, or that they used yesterday, which is libel of the finance minister and also Infrastructure Minister, respectively, Honorable Charles Milupi and Honorable Stumbeko Msogotwane, and Mr. Malchan from the RDA, Road Development Agency. He defamed them, and hence the magistrate rendered a 12 months sentence to him. Now, other political pundits are saying we are expecting a by-election in Lumezi constituency, seeing that the honorable member for Lumezi constituency will be away from parliament for a longer period of time. 1 year, it's not easy when you are in there, Mr. MUTUMBA. Let's look at this arrest and the language, the conduct of members of parliament on parliament grounds and off parliament grounds.
In my view, just to add a voice on what happened yesterday on the conviction of Rumezi, Member of Parliament, that is Munia Zuru, it is a sad development.
Okay.
No one should be happy that Munia has been arrested. We must all be sad because the people of Rumezi will not have a Member of Parliament, just the way you indicated that for a longer period of 1 year. Of course, he's going to save about 8 months plus if you remove those remissions and deducted days. So according to the law, meaning we are going for by-election. But if he appeals, meaning there won't be declaration of the vacancy of the city for Rumezi, meaning we'll have to wait again. But still, people that will suffer are the people of Rumezi because their representative, the person they voted for to represent them in parliament, will be absent. It is a sad development. And if things do not go well, meaning the people of Rumezi will have lost a leader they loved, because you are aware that he won massively, and
as an independent,
it's not easy to win as an independent candidate, meaning it shows how much people love you, the confidence they have in you. Let us learn a lesson from this situation where Munia Zuru is now going to serve in prison. It is called now a rehabilitation center, where he's going to rethink and think twice about his attitude.
Okay.
The question that I've been asking myself is, sometimes when he's talking in such a manner as a member of parliament, that's why he's called honorable. The title itself, when people call you honorable, meaning you are honored, you have that dignity. Your integrity must be exceptional. You're not just an ordinary person, you're a respected person who is making laws in parliament, the laws that are governing the larger number, 20 million plus. So your comment, your attitude, the way you behave must be very, you must lead by example. You remember the other time when he was given discipline in parliament, when he told the members of parliament that we are all adults here. You remember the word?
Yes,
let's not mention them. That was already showing that he was a little bit immature. He wasn't matured
to be in the house.
To be in the house.
Okay.
So he deserved that punishment. Again, he defamed the 3 people on allegations that they received money from an unknown company, about 250,000 each, these 2 ministers, plus the RDA, who later forwarded another 150,000 to an account of one of the ministers. Now, he would have proved his allegation. He would have proved before the court, because the period in which he was taken for prosecution or for trial, he would have produced that evidence under which account, from which bank, but it's like he was just talking from without. So whenever you are in politics, learn to speak the truth and the reality. If at all you are taken to court, produce the evidence. The courts are there to verify as to whether the information you are sharing on social media to the public is a certified information.
Okay.
So it is a lesson to these that are not yet convicted, especially MPs that are coming from the opposition. They are there to make checks and balances, but they must be honest, they must be truthful, so that whenever they speak, they are sharing information that can be hidden from the public. If they have those facts, we have no problem of them communicating to us that these are alleged to have been found in grand corruption. But if they are not facts, don't speak it out. Even me as an advocate, as an activist, whenever I'm sharing anything that concerns, you know, the national issues that can attract the people of Zambia with keen interest to understand, I must be very honest and speak the truth. This is how we are going to represent our people. Even when we are in opposition, we must speak the truth. Of course, everyone has a right to freedom of expression, but there must be facts of whatever we say.
Okay. Let's also look at the fight against corruption, Mr. MUTUMBA. But from your general perspective, being an advocate slash activist and a good governance advocate and activist for that matter, the UPN will be clocking 4 years in August. So by default, this is already their 4th year. Let me find out from you, how do you look at the fight against corruption under the UPND government so far?
We are not fighting corruption in an honest manner.
Okay.
Because corruption cannot fight corruption. Corrupt people cannot fight corruption.
Okay.
Why am I saying that corruption cannot fight corruption is, do we have interest to change this country where corruption is concerned? Those that are mandated, those that are appointed to act on behalf of the Zambians, to fight corruption, they must fight corruption more serious than they are doing it now.
Do we have a corruption crisis?
We have a corruption crisis. Why do you think this government, under the leadership of UPND, has been dissolving those that are mandated to fight corruption? It is a reason that those that are mandated to fight corruption are also corrupt.
Okay.
So if you're given a task, you're appointed by the leadership of this government, or maybe by the Zambian people, through the president, you must know that you're not fighting for yourself, you're fighting for the people, because corruption has been getting more money to individuals than to the public. Those that are in public offices, they've been abusing their offices by, you know, getting huge sums of money, public funds, to use them for their personal gain. Yet majority Zambians, the 20 million Zambians, are suffering. So if we are not going to fight corruption so hard, this country will never develop. Meaning more money will go into individual pockets and not to the public. That institution was brought forth to help Zambians recover money, to discipline those that are alleged to have stolen public funds. But we are just looking at grand corruption. There is also corruption in these institutions. For example, the police.
Okay.
I have an experience which I may not disclose here. Police and its officers, 90% of them are corrupt.
Okay.
Now, these are just examples of institutions that have not controlled themselves from bribes, soliciting money. And no one is talking about, you know, even you, for you to be released on police bond, you need to pay an officer who has taken keen interest to follow up those officers that are demanding money from family members and also bonders.
Okay, maybe not to get you out of context, Mr. MUTUMBA, we recently read and heard and reported to the public where the Zambia Correctional Service, is it in Mwambeshi?
Yeah.
It relieved 15, it suspended 21 now, officers, correctional officers, for soliciting monies from well-to-do or affluent inmates in those particular cells. So your point is valid.
It's very valid because I gave an example in the same Ministry of Home Affairs where police service is not a service now. Okay? Some people are into police just to make money. Look at the wealth some of the officers are getting today. When you look at their income, where the allowances that are given to them if they are sent for duty, they've built mansions, their farms, they are damn rich. Recently, I think you heard an audio of one individual who's complaining over the issue of an IG, a deputy IG. We don't know how factual that is. One was complaining that there is some threats against this brother after a transaction happened. All these revelations are telling us that we are not fighting corruption fully. We are ignoring certain trends that are growing more bigger from a smaller soliciting and bribes, corruption is now growing. It has affected everybody. It has become our culture that most institutions, its officers, not only in police, in nearly all the ministries, corruption is there. Nchekeleko, for you even just to get a signature on a document, you must be connected, you must give out something. Even these loans that people are getting in these institutions which are giving out loans, there is corruption. And yet the monies that are going as loans are public funds going to the people of Zambia. But for you to get this money, you must have a connection. You must know somebody. And this corruption has grown such that it has now turned to have grey hair.
Are you then saying we as a people have now normalized corrupt activities?
Yes, it has become a life to live on. You get the point.
Okay.
Talk of these jobs of these that are being employed. This government is doing good by engaging. Today we are almost reaching about 100,000 that have been employed. But I want to tell you that for those that are employed, to be honest, and God is seeing what is going on, and what we are speaking is the truth. There was connection connected to them. Most people are not picked on merit. You qualify for the job, you need to pay somebody. For example, there are families that are crying today who have their husband, their wives far away. For you to reunite with your family, even after the president had guided that those that are married with marriage certificates, they must unite back. Today, you need to corrupt somebody for you to be transferred to where your husband is, to be transferred to where your wife is. How do we develop? How are we going to show the future generation to come that we are a country that wants to do things so transparently?
Mr. Mutumba, we thought these were rumors when we heard that there have been people who've been paying in the past and now 15,000 for you to be employed in this municipality. But in the PR department, for instance, you need to pay 15,000 kwacha. And this is a fresh graduate from the University of Zambia, or they graduated from any institution and they have been home for quite some years, and they are being told, pay 15,000, you will be employed. And now you are saying even some of the recruitments that have been going on, people have been bribing certain people to get these jobs. And when if you talk about the teacher recruitment, Nakez has been on record saying that this particular process wasn't transparent. How would you make of all these allegations from the past and now into the present, where people are subjected to pay something for them to receive or to be offered a service?
The best that would have done to stop and reduce, corruption is where you engage secret service.
Okay.
For example, you have papers that qualifies you to be a health worker, papers that qualifies you to be a teacher, or maybe to be a public worker. If I was to be a director of anti-corruption, I would have engaged more officers. When such information is coming, and it has gone viral, that most teachers, even those that are joining military, or maybe in any other recruitment, are paying and bribing senior most persons in those institutions with 15,000 kwacha. Why not give about 10, that same 15 kwacha? Okay, and pretend in the pretext that you need a job. And the moment that person receives money, you automatically arrest and bring these people before the public and punish them so stiff. And you warn Minister of Education, warn Zambia Police Service, warn Zambia Army, warn Zambia Air Force, ZNS, and all these recruitment exercises that are happening. Whoever will be employed based on a connection where one does not have the capacity, such must be disciplined such that they won't even get their pension. I think we'll have started slowing down the corruption that is now becoming uncontrollable.
Who is to blame for the uncontrollable politics?
It is the leadership. When corruption is not fought as expected, then we blame the government in power. We blame those that are mandated to fight corruption. Because corruption is the talk of the day. Every media house, everyone is complaining about corruption. Do you know that even just to connect electricity at your own plot, you need to corrupt some people for them to quickly come and connect power?
Have we reached that far as a country?
We have reached that far. Even just to have no load shedding, there are people who are highly connected. That this area, because there is this person, don't disconnect power, just like usual. Normal hours that are given to you. If it is 7 hours, there are people enjoying 15 hours.
On that one, Mr. MUTUMBA, allegedly, there's a street in Olympia that enjoys 24-hour service of power.
How come they
So
enjoy
this
it?
is true. It is happening.
It is reality.
In Zambia.
Yes.
Mr. MUTUMBA, let's move on. Let's look at some of the pieces of legislature that might help to curb corruption or to nip it in the bud. Now, we have seen proposed constitutional amendments, and the general public, obviously some sections of society, are asking the question to say, why haven't we seen pieces of legislature that border on the fight against corruption? Because this was the song of the UPND opposition, saying that we want to fight past, present, and future corruption. However, of all the 13 proposed constitutional amendments, none of them speak to the corruption fight. Why is this the case, Mr. MUTUMBA, from your perspective?
Us as advocates, we are weaker and very weak.
Are you taking sides?
Do you know that even the 13 proposed amendment clauses would have had more? The challenge has been consultation. Consultation is key. Whom do you consult to have such provisions in the Constitution that will protect the fight against corruption?
Okay.
We would have, advocated for such, and we must begin now. Because we expected a lot. To me, I'm not fighting the amendment of the Constitution. But you know, there are certain clauses I expect
And they are not
to be
there.
among, they are not there, but we should continue. That's why, whenever we want to amend the Constitution, we must look at clauses that will really benefit the whole entire public. Because this government will leave office, another government will come and make proposals. And you know, changing and amending the Constitution is very expensive. The money that we use to do this exercise, this process, is our money. And for how long are we going to continue to amend the Constitution? For example, I was thinking that maybe even the appointment of the ECZ chairperson or commissioners, those people must be appointed on merit, not from the powers of the president.
It is widely believed that those that are appointed to be commissioners, to head the ECZ, have got some ties to the governing government, and through successive governments, we have seen this to be true.
Yes. You remember when one day ECL was quoted, and this video went viral, when he said, one of the personnel from ECZ came to us and said, how did we lose?
Yes, yes.
What does that entail us? It tells us that the more reason why the president has powers to appoint ECZ personnel is a relationship. I'm not saying this is what Hakainde Hichilema did. I'm saying something that will stop even opposition to be more worried where reading is concerned. They will have somebody who is more neutral and independent without any inclination. These are some of the provisions that were supposed to reflect where?
In the amendment.
In the amendment.
And we have seen, Mr. MUTUMBA, certain individuals that have been appointed to higher sensitive offices in party regalia.
Yes.
For instance, during the PF, we could see individuals in PF regalia. Same with the UPND. We have seen individuals that are holding key government positions in the UPND regalia.
But the truth is that those that are appointed to hold positions in government, nearly everyone is a cadre. I love Tabo Kawana when he's being interviewed. where you want to drag him into politics, he will tell you, yes, I'm a cadre. Everyone who is appointed must be loyal to the current president and the government. I was just talking about ECZ appointments. We talk about the judges. Police, army, we can leave it to the president because that is his protection. But including judges, when this leadership is in power, there are judges who are loyal to the current leadership. So somehow, somewhere, they become biased. They are not transparent, they are not honesty, there is no justice even in the executing of judgments where matters of national interest are concerned. But they widely consult on how they are going to pass judgment from the one who appointed them.
Okay.
So this is a provision that I also expected, that the appointment of judges should not be given in the hands of the president.
Mr. MUTUMBA, let me find out, when you talk about the legal fraternity itself, when it comes to interpretation of the Constitution, as an advocate, why do we see the legal fraternity dividing itself? Laz is saying this, this lawyer is saying this, that other lawyer is saying this, but this is one law that we have, but the interpretation is different. Are we seeing camps affiliated to political parties within the judicial system, within the legal fraternity?
Yes. Why you think these legal industries and also institutions are speaking so differently without having one voice under one law that governs this country?
Yet the all pass
is a reason that when you look at Laz is not politically affiliated. And even those that are appointed the presidents of Law Association of Zambia, some of them could be cadres that belongs to a certain political party. You understand? Okay. Now, it has been so worrying to hear politicians speaking this, lawyers are speaking this, another institution is speaking this, under one law. Let's talk about the reforms of the Constitution amendment process. Institutions have received this with mixed feelings. They are also reacting to say it was not legal for this government to have submitted, the amendment of the Constitution without consulting. And there is a lawyer that I've been following on Diamond TV who was saying, how did they come up with all these 13 proposed?
Are you referring to Council Jonas Zimba?
That's him.
Okay.
He argued, but he's the same lawyer who could have maybe gone to the same school where other lawyers have gone, who could have maybe studied the Constitution just like any other lawyer have studied. But they have a different interpretation of the process itself.
Then the lawyers
Why should lawyers argue when they understand matters to do with Constitution? Of course, maybe the person that we can hear more to explain issues to do with Constitution are state councils, because those are well oriented and vested in the Constitution. But we have a lawyer who can speak this today, argue on just one simple clause. If I give you an example of how we argued on the third term clause, under this same current Constitution, there have been a lot of misleading interpretation by the same lawyers that are more trusted. If me, who is not a lawyer, can be able to understand
that there are
lines in the Constitution, that there are lacunas here, what more a person who has undergone a training, a course of legal aspect?
I've never seen doctors arguing over
They don't. If a case comes before their table, they will engage the information they have, the understanding they have. Then they will do that good work together. You have this doctor here, you have this doctor here. They will begin to weigh what is causing the problem in this person. And at the end of the day, you just say there was a successful surgery.
Exactly.
But lawyers, to me, most lawyers, is it a sin if I say they are crooks? They are corrupt. If they are financed by a political party, they can speak against this and that. Unless they are benefiting from what is currently happening, they will remain muted. I expected Johnny Sango, where is he? I don't know, for a longer time now.
State Council?
Yes, State Council. He's a man I've given much respect. Though others don't respect him, but he's a man I've given much respect because he's more serious when it comes to constitutional issues. He interprets them exactly the way they are. Even the issue of third term, he talked about it and he said the Constitutional Court ruling is fine. And exactly what he said. People say, no, he's affiliated to UPN. No, he's affiliated to PF. That man understands constitutional matters. So even under this process, we are supposed to have one voice. If this is not right, to me, let me tell you, as an advocate,
okay,
the proposed 13 amendments are subject for scrutiny. They're not final. It is the people of Zambia who say yes to this, not that. And we hope.
But the question again, Mr. MUTUMBA, sorry to cut you short. Please hold your thought. The question again is, before coming up with these constitutional amendments, where did the government get them from? Did they get them from the people of Zambia? Because then there has to be a consultative process even before you propose constitutional amendments. That's the $1 million question that needs to be answered, sir.
Do you remember the Bill 10 issue? Whom did the government of PF consult?
The people of Zambia rejected it.
Rejected it, right? Now, there is
Too long don't make it right, Mr.
There is a procedure. I want to make you understand one thing. I mentioned it in the last interview.
Okay.
That before any submission is presented as a report, there is a committee that sits.
Who constitutes that committee? Now, how does that committee come
The only thing is, the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Information and Broadcasting will have explained to the public how they got those proposals. Whom did they engage? That's a question you're asking.
Yes,
That's what the public is asking.
Exactly.
This is where many lawyers are also asking.
Yes.
How did they come up
with these
constitutional
amendments?
They came up, they did their consultation.
From whom?
So the only question we should ask them now is from whom? They must explain now. All I believe is we don't have a clause in the Constitution that talks about how you can come up with a submission of proposals under the amendment process. There is no provision in the Constitution.
But is there a provision that allows a sitting government to come up to propose constitutional amendments?
Yes, there is. There is. Do you think Minister of Justice just came up with those proposals? Do you think so? There was consultation from business institution. There was consultation from the
legal.
But
I'm not aware if LAS was consulted.
They cannot explain to you because there is no need. Cornelius even mentioned. This is where we should just now amend again.
This is the people's document, Mr.
We must amend that from now onwards and going forward, before any submission is made, before any report is given, there must be a law to allow you, media houses, to allow a legal institution, to allow traditional leaders, to allow journalists, to allow whoever to say we want to amend the Constitution now. Let's bring the Constitution on the table. Where should we amend? You will submit. That institution will submit. This individual will submit. Youths will submit. All right. Now, let's present this in Parliament that we want to amend the Constitution because we engaged A, B, C, D. But they did it because there is no law that should inform you that we are coming up with a submission. There is no law that should inform the opposition that we are coming with this submission. The only law that is there, the government in power, has its own system on coming up with a submission.
Without consultations.
Because there is no law in the Constitution. Even when you are demanding for consultation, which consultation do you want when they are just submitting a proposal? It is a proposal.
Even the proposal itself is a highly contentious issue.
Yeah,
just like the clauses in the Constitution of Zambia, they are highly contentious.
They are highly contentious, but now this is where we are working on. Let's come up with a law. It was supposed to be part of the proposal that going forward, we'll never submit anything before we have a broader consultation. But the government of the Republic of Zambia under UPND, they consulted whoever they consulted, and now they've submitted. So it is up to the public now, because the stakeholders are to be involved. They need to represent us.
Government.
So we are rejecting this one, we are rejecting the delimitation, which is a non-contentious issue. You get the point? So they consulted, in short, but the only thing, let's see,
within government.
Yes, within government.
Mr. Mutumba, let's make progress. Let me take you to a place where you call home, a place you enjoy, and allow me to disclose on this particular platform that we have seen video clips. I don't know if you are aware of people singing pro Mutumba chants, people advocating for you to represent them. I don't know whether you've seen. Due to lack of time, we won't have time to show those particular clips, but let me bring this to your attention. Shibuyunji, I'm talking about Shibuyunji now. We have seen videos go viral of people calling your name, Shibuyunji 1, you know, Mutumba for Shibuyunji. I just want to find out, these calls that are coming from members of the community of Shibuyunji in particular, as we begin to wind down our program, are they genuine calls? And after you heard, or if you haven't heard, I'm informing you, how are you reacting to these calls of members of Shibuyunji who are calling upon you to represent them? How are you responding to these calls?
Joe and the viewers out there, I want to believe the people of Shibuyunji are watching me live this afternoon.
Of course, on Camnet.
Joe, I want to make it public and known to you,
okay,
and the viewers out there, that come 2026, if God will, and if it is the will of the people of Shibuyunji, I will take over the seat of a council chairperson. Reasons of me vying for that position, I feel to be very fit. I'm not forced to aspire.
Okay.
Willingly, I want to stand.
Okay.
I want to change the district of Shibuyunji with the councillors that work with me.
What do you want to
There
change?
is a lot.
What do you want to change?
There is a lot. We
Give
want
us
to bring investment, number one.
Mm-hmm.
When we bring investment in the district, why are we bringing investment in the district? Shibuyunji itself is very rich. Did you know that Shibuyunji district has the richest mineral, and one of these mineral is gold?
In Shibuyunji.
We've been hidden this information for a longer time.
Okay.
And when I get into office, if people vote for me into office, will expose all the scandals of information, of exploration reports. Shibuyunji is very rich. It has now more than 3 mines.
In Shibuyunji.
These are active mines. And many other mines that you are hearing, which are illegal mines, these are mines that are telling you that Shibuyunji can be rich. Shibuyunji can develop. I want to change Shibuyunji from a town council to a municipal. In fact, if I save well people, give me another chance, perhaps, to continue now as a mayor. Where I'm seated, we are rich. There is a high grade of rhyme. Imagine if we have about maybe 4 or 5 investors. We are not going to talk about the challenges of road. These investors will go to RDA will approve the construction of a tarmac. Now, we are struggling. Shibuyunji people have been crying. The road is pathetic.
Shibuyunji is under Mwembeshi constituency.
It's under Mwembeshi constituency, under Central Province.
Okay.
40 kilometers away from the CBD.
Okay.
But the Shibuyunji people have been crying to have a tarmac. Thank God, the process has begun. Though it's very slow, but we are hopeful one day, even when I'm a leader, the tarmac is going to come. We are going to work together, the MP, myself, the councillors, and the district commissioner, to lobby for this tarmac. If it will not come under this leadership, then we must fight that we have a road. So in short, there are so many activities that will take place when I'm into office. I'm not speaking like just another politician who speaks. Me, when I speak, I act.
You're a man of action?
I'm a man of action.
Okay.
I've served before in capacities where just less than 2 months I'm in office, I was able to bring and pushing and lobbying for clinics. I've done a lot even when I was a CDF chairperson. So I understand the duties of a council chairperson. You need to lobby investment from the investors. I don't want to make any friendship with investors I want to tell them that we have a corporate responsibility to grade roads because you are gaining and making profits out of our soil. I will go to Trade Kings. You are collecting minerals in our districts. We need you to build teachers' houses under corporate responsibility.
Oh.
We'll go to KCM. KCM, let us make sure that within the perimeter of your operation, let us make sure that we change the face of Shibuyunji. We want to have rights in the streets. We want to have better roads. We want to make sure that our investors are cooperating with us so that together we can see changes in Shibuyunji in terms of infrastructure. Okay? School infrastructures and many other activities. We want to make sure that when we bring these investors into the district, the problems of money will come to an end because majority young people will get jobs from these investors. And one of the roles that Mwinunga can do not to allow Shibuyunji people to go and work that side. Now, because of corruption, if I become a council chairperson, I will not talk strongly to the management or administration of those investors. Why? If I'm getting fewer from them,
Okay.
then I'm not going to work with them because I'll be biased. So I need to be very neutral because I'm there to serve the people. So in short, I'm praying if I don't die, Joe. If not,
The issue of cattle rustlers, we received a report that we even have it on our Facebook page, that people in a van were burnt to ashes because they were suspected cattle rustlers. The issue of cattle rustlers, how are we going to address it? Within a minute, Mr. MUTUMBA, as we go.
it's a sad news that we lost the lives of people that were burnt to ashes because of aggrieved community members that caught these cattle rustlers. Now, this is not the first time we're talking about this here.
Okay.
We've had a number of people that were burnt, but these criminals are not stopping. And it is making people to be more angry. And they acted in the mob justice. Now, mob justice, according to our law, it is not allowed for you to take a life of somebody. Maybe by arresting these people with a stiff punishment, and maybe we'll have known who else is remaining, because burning them, you and me, according to the law, we have no facts as to whether these are criminals. But the only thing that proves that these are criminals is where they were found on the scene, cutting pieces of these animals, almost taking them because the vehicle was coming. So now, I wish these cattle wrestlers can learn a lesson from such kind of acts.
Okay.
Though I'm not advocating for such a punishment, for such an act, because I'm a human rights advocate. Under the law and the constitution, everyone has a right to defend himself or herself.
Okay.
So this act is a sad development, and we wish Zambia police, when there are such reports, they quickly investigate who was involved, who is this criminal, and you begin to protect those that are arrested, so that in the near future, we may not understand why are those banned. Maybe they are banned so that they don't speak a lot about whoever is involved. We need justice where these are arrested, they are disciplined, they are questioned, they are interrogated. Maybe they can expose more information. But banning them without any single arrest, then we prove that something is wrong. But Shibuyunji is crying because animals are lost every time. Owners are not happy. So we want to make sure that police does its job more professional, not to allow people to be more angered. When those who are arrested are taken to police for cattle wrestling, then meaning we want to see justice. Those must be imprisoned.
Okay.
But this has never been the case in Shibuyunji.
Okay.
Sure.
Mr. MUTUMBA, we have to go. May the good Lord keep you, preserve you, and may He bless you so that you fulfill your heart's desires of serving Shibuyunji in the capacity of council chairperson. Thank you so much for coming.
Amen. I receive the blessing. God bless you too.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, the viewers, the major stakeholders in this program. Please still be patient for our announcement. It's coming. It's almost here, as it were. Apologies for the background. That was an oversight on our part. However, the best thing is that we delivered the product, which is the Lunchtime Cafe, to you, our loyal, esteemed viewers. We value your association with Camnet TV. We'll see you when you see us. Thank you so much, my director upstairs. Good afternoon and God bless.